Tonight, the race to escape a fast-moving bushfire south of Perth. Desperate students cling to a ledge, hiding from a gunman on a deadly rampage. St Vincent's cyber attack, the medical and financial data of 3 million Australians potentially exposed. Test star Usman Khawaja says he won't be silenced as he's reprimanded by cricket authorities. A truck fire causes gridlock on the M5 as the great holiday getaway begins. And the devastating loss of one of League's toughest, Origin and Test star Carl Webb.
This is 9 News with Jayne Azzopardi.
Good evening. We begin our broadcast with extraordinary pictures of a rapidly unfolding bushfire emergency which is right now threatening lives and destroying homes. Our news helicopter capturing frantic scenes just an hour from Perth as residents there ran for their lives.
Locals near Serpentine, southeast of Perth, could see the fire coming, but it was the horses that sensed the danger, bolting as the driver of a Land Cruiser with a trailer in tow became stuck as he tried to manoeuvre his way out. Edging backwards and forwards, there was no escape. Others rushed to help, but the four-wheel drive is going nowhere and the flames are moving fast. Also moving quickly, crews, as spot fires were breaking out everywhere. It was meant to be a day of kinder weather and some relief for firefighters. Instead, 35-degree temperatures and the winds were back as strong as ever. Choppers were scrambled and reinforcements were called in, joining the battle, the nation's biggest weapons. In the past 2 days, 3 houses have been destroyed in fires in the Perth Hills. Julie and Craig Moody returned to Parkerville today to find their house of 17 years gutted. They were at work when the fire began and raced back home with enough time to save their dogs.
Our son had his 17th birthday the day before the fire. So all his presents, everything are gone. All the Christmas presents are gone.
For so many caught up in the emergency, it's destined to be a sad Christmas. There will be more homes lost. And as for that four-wheel drive, well, he made it out. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
And 9's Ezra Holt is at a roadblock at Keysbrook near Serpentine in Perth's southeast. Good evening, Ezra. Residents there are frantic.
Yeah, that's right, Jane. They are frantic, and you can see why. Behind me there is just smoke filling the whole sky behind us because of that blaze, which is moving very quickly in an easterly direction right now. We are at a roadblock, like you said, and plenty of residents are approaching the roadblock, being turned around, unable to get into that properties. That is, of course, creating a lot of distress and anxiety amongst the residents here in Perth South. There are 81 firefighting crews currently fighting this blaze. It is not controlled or contained at this hour. Winds are continuing to keep that fire moving rather quickly, so it is set to be a long night ahead for all those involved in this firefight. Jane.
Ezra Holt there, thank you. Terrified students have been forced to barricade themselves inside classrooms or cling to a ledge to hide from a gunman who opened fire at a university in Prague. 14 people were killed, dozens were injured, a 24-year-old student behind the violence.
Clinging to a ledge 5 floors up, desperate students with nowhere else to hide as a gunman stalks the building. On the street below, confusion and panic. Crowds run as fast as they can. Booms heard across the heart of Prague's historic old town. Coming from a balcony at Charles University, 24-year-old David Kay, a student at the arts faculty. Taking careful aim, shooting at helpless people in the square below. Earlier in the day, he had killed his father at home outside the city before making his way to the university where he planned to take his own life. Officers were alerted and tracked him there, but at 3:15 in the afternoon, the gunshots began. He managed to kill more than a dozen people before he fell from the roof and was found dead. It's unclear whether it was in an exchange of fire.
This is the deadliest attack in Czech modern history, and police say it could have been even worse. A large number of weapons were found inside the university. and they've been searching the premises for explosives.
We could have had higher tens of victims, says the Interior Minister. Police have ruled out terror, but do believe he was inspired by what they call a similar event abroad and that he acted alone. As he carried out his rampage, inside the faculty, people sheltered in classrooms. Some built makeshift barricades. Professor Sergei Medvedev had been giving a lecture.
We stayed away from the doors. We barricaded the door. We put all the, desks against the door. We turned off the lights. We didn't stay close to the windows. As we were evacuated, we were walking on the stairs, and there's this historic marble stairs there, and they're all splashed with blood.
It was the final day of class before the start of Christmas break. The Prime Minister urging Czechs to think of those who've lost loved ones, for whom this Christmas will be unimaginably sad. In Prague, Edward Godfrey, 9 News.
9 Europe correspondent Edward Godfrey joins us now from Prague. Edward, police suspect the gunman has killed before.
Jayne, police believe he may be responsible for 2 murders which occurred last week. Those victims were a man and his 2-month-old daughter who were shot dead in a forest in what's been described as a wealthy part of town. Police say those victims were selected by their killer at random. Now, as those investigations continue, a heavy police presence remains here at the Charles University. It's still cordoned off, and officers have been going in and out of the building all night long. A day of mourning, Jayne, has also been declared following what is the worst shooting incident this country has ever seen.
Edward Godfrey there, thank you. Millions of Australians have had their most sensitive health data compromised by a cyber attack on the largest not-for-profit health and aged care provider. St Vincent's Health says it doesn't know what data has been stolen or how long cyber criminals were inside its computer systems.
St Vincent's Health has dedicated itself to Australians' care for more than 160 years. But in recent days, the health giants needed its own urgent attention.
St Vincent's found evidence that cyber criminals had removed some data from our network.
Data plundered from a computer network connecting 3 public hospitals, 10 private hospitals and 23 aged care centres across New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland. Medical and financial information of more than 3 million Australians potentially compromised.
All data is sensitive if you're the owner of that data.
The cyber attack only revealed 3 days after it was first noticed. St Vincent's Health discovered it had been hacked on Tuesday, notifying the Australian Cyber Security Centre and bringing in expert help. The hack was contained by Wednesday morning, St Vincent's alerting Cybersecurity Minister Claire O'Neill and Health Minister Mark Butler. Both ministers' offices were briefed throughout Thursday, confirmation coming about 9 p.m. that data had been stolen.
What that data is part of the investigation.
I should stress here that there is a difference between data being stolen, which is never good, and systems being impacted.
St Vincent's insisting its hospitals and aged care homes are operating as normal. 9 News can reveal St Vincent's lost 1.5 gigabytes of data, or about 680,000 pages of information. A ransom demand is yet to be received.
Cybersecurity is a major issue.
Cyber criminals are all about profit. Their key aim is to try and get money by either publishing the data or through a ransom note for the hospital.
Millions of Australians waiting for the hackers' next move. Andrew Probyn, 9 News.
An emotional Usman Khawaja has accused the International Cricket Council of double standards amid his human rights stand. The Australian opener says he will challenge a code of conduct charge for wearing a black armband, which he insists was not a political statement.
Softly spoken, but Usman Khawaja makes a big noise in cricket.
The issue is that for a long time, Cricket Australia has been a very white-dominated sport.
But it's his actions, not his words, which has the Australian opener in trouble. Wearing a black armband in the first test against Pakistan in breach of the International Cricket Council's Code of Conduct.
The ICC asked me on day 2 what it was for. I told it was for a personal bereavement. I never ever stated it was for anything else. Shoes were a different matter.
On the eve of the test, Khawaja scrapped plans to take to the field with writing on his shoes stating all lives are equal and freedom is a human right. to raise awareness to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
The armband made no sense to me. Guys have put stickers on their bats, names on their shoes, done all sorts of things in the past without ICC approval and never been reprimanded.
The Prime Minister was quick to go into bat for Uzi.
All lives are equal is a sentiment that I think is uncontroversial.
The cricketer copped a reprimand which basically amounts to a slap on the wrist, and if anything, the ICC's intervention has only intensified the focus on Khawaja's crusade. And it certainly won't silence him.
When I'm looking at my Instagram and I'm seeing kids, innocent kids, videos of them dying, that's what's hit me the hardest. I just imagine my young daughter in my arms and the same thing.
And as Khawaja played some hit and giggle at the MCG today, there'll be no black armband on Boxing Day.
I'm not wearing the armband again. As I said to the ICC, the armband was for a personal bereavement.
So what's next? The cricketer says he's plotting something, but agrees it will have to be ticked off by the ICC. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
A 12-year-old boy has begun the school holidays in hospital, falling off a work site in College Street at Gladesville around 10:30 this morning. He was treated for a head injury and a broken collarbone before being taken to the Children's Hospital at Westmead. Between last-minute shopping trips, visits with family and holidays up the coast, it is all eyes on our roads in the final stretch to Christmas. But you didn't need to be driving through one of our notorious holiday pinch points to get stuck in traffic today. Even suburban drivers found themselves tangled up in a long trail of cars.
A raging inferno in the middle of the road.
Oh my God. Jeez, how are they still letting cars past that?
Soon enough, they weren't. All westbound lanes of the M5 closed at Kingsgrove. 2 of 3 eastbound lanes also closed. It was worse than what you'd expect from even the most notorious holiday pinch points. The Exodus North at Hexham slow, but still moving. While cars breezed south past Kiama along the M1. But even when traffic is moving smoothly, Highway Patrol are preparing for more risks on the roads.
5 minutes, half an hour is not worth the loss of somebody's life.
9 News spotting a driver performing a U-turn on the Harbour Bridge yesterday. A stunt only a fool would try. Bianca Balza, 9 News. Well, I spoke to the Transport Management Centre just a short time ago, and even they are impressed with how our holiday traffic is looking. As we go to Ed tonight here on the Pacific Highway at Wahroonga, it's practically empty. One thing drivers can expect more of on the roads over the coming days are police, as their statewide operation is right now underway and double demerit points now in force. Jane?
Bianca, thank you. A virus of madness which infected politicians and journalists. That's how Bruce Lehrmann's legal team has described the sexual assault allegations against the former political staffer. A federal court judge has also heard no matter what he decides in the long-running defamation case, Mr Lehrmann's name will always be tainted.
With a smile, Bruce Lehrmann and his barrister on the final day of his defamation trial.
How would you say your case has gone, Mr Lehrmann?
In closing submissions, Stephen Wybrow telling the court a virus of madness spread after the Channel 10 interview on the project in February 2021, where Brittany Higgins made allegations she had been raped in Parliament House.
I had worked my entire life to get here.
The virus seems to have infected the media and the political class, he said, arguing the case has been about lies, damn lies, and CCTV, refuting claims by Channel 10's legal team that Bruce Lehrmann was seen on CCTV plying Brittany Higgins with alcohol at a bar earlier that night. It is just an innocuous social exchange, he says. Bruce Lehrmann is suing Network 10 and journalist Lisa Wilkinson, denying there was any sexual assault or sexual activity between himself and Brittany Higgins in Parliament House on the night in question. Bruce Lehrmann's barrister arguing the former staffer's reputation has been permanently damaged. The way this allegation came to be aired has forever and will forever, irrespective of whatever your honour says, irrespective of the facts, irrespective of the evidence, he will for all time be in their minds the person who raped Brittany Higgins. It's the case of the Lehrmann legal team that Ms Higgins made up the allegation of rape because she was worried about losing her job after being found naked by security in Parliament House the next morning, describing it as a potential career-limiting or career-ending moment. After this month-long high-stakes trial, the judge will now likely make a decision sometime next year. His Honour has already made comments that there are credit problems with both the main protagonists, Brittany Higgins and Bruce Lehrmann. At the Federal Court, Lizzie Pearl, 9 News.
The Prime Minister has today announced $64 million in disaster funding for people affected by floods in far north Queensland. The package includes $50 million for small businesses and primary producers.
If you have a booking here in far north Queensland, please don't just cancel. They want people to continue to come.
The Prime Minister toured the region today and conceded more support will be needed. We're in for a COVID Christmas this year as cases rise, particularly in children. Liz Daniels takes us through the latest data from New South Wales Health.
Well, school's out and COVID's about. The number of emergency department presentations has been climbing steadily over the past 3 weeks, driven by children and people aged between 17 and 49. New South Wales Health sewage surveillance now pointing to Bondi, Liverpool and Quakers Hill as the virus hotspots, with new variants including JN1 on the rise. There were also increases in the number of influenza and RSV cases, both also surging in children. The New South Wales Health advice, perhaps the greatest gift you can give your vulnerable loved ones this Christmas, is to take them to get the newest updated monovalent booster shot.
One of league's toughest, there was little Carl Webb couldn't handle on the field, revered as a fearless warrior for his club, his state and his country. But it was his post-career battle with motor neurone disease which was truly inspiring. Sadly, the father of 4 has lost that fight, aged just 42.
Inside the home base of this year's NRL Grand Finalist, an illustration of Carl Webb's toughness, still holding the Broncos' bench press record 20 years on from setting the mark, an enduring legacy he leaves behind.
Well, it's an extremely sad day for the Webb family and rugby league as well.
One of the game's most ferocious forwards, who earned a place in State of Origin folklore with the try and debut in the 2001 series. Webb played 187 games for the Broncos, Cowboys and Eels, but faced his biggest challenge 4 years ago when diagnosed with motor neurone disease. Setting up the Carl Webb Foundation, he raised thousands of dollars to support fellow MND sufferers, all while waging his own private battle.
So inspiring to see the way he has reacted to it, because it's not about him, it's about what he can do for others.
It's not just me experiencing this, it's also the family and loved ones. So, yeah, extremely proud of just how people have been.
The father of 4 died at his Dalby home after a fall last night. Tributes led by Broncos coach Kevin Walters. Every time he walked into our place, you felt the respect and admiration from so many. There'll forever be a permanent reminder of the impact Carl Webb had on the game of rugby league, with his name and State of Origin number emblazoned on the forecourt here at Suncorp Stadium, the scene of his greatest moments on field.
And he said, and if I pass away too soon, I'm going to see even less matches where Queensland beat New South Wales.
Carl Webb was 42. Adam Jackson, 9 News.
It's time now for a check of today's weather. Hi, Belinda.
Hi, Jane. Summer returned to Sydney today after a few cool and cloudy days. It was great to see that sunshine again, and temperatures in the city back to average for this time of year, officially peaking at 25.6 just before 3 p.m. But thanks to some moderate southerlies, it felt a few degrees cooler. Our western suburbs reaching the mid to high 20s, Penrith stopping at 28 after a low of 16.9. An outbreak of thunderstorms is expected across parts of New South Wales from tomorrow. So what does that mean for Christmas Day? I'll be back with your festive forecast after sport, Jane.
I'm looking forward to it, Belinda. Thank you. A husband, father, brother and hero. The emotional send-off for a firefighter who lost his life in the line of duty at Richmond. How a driver walked away from this shocking crash on the M4 near Penrith. The shocking allegations made against the Fast and Furious star Vin Diesel. Plus, why these deer were flying through the sky in the US, and it has nothing to do with Santa. Before you watch this, no, the driver is okay. A car rolling an incredible 5 times during a 2-vehicle crash along the M4 near Penrith. The ute was travelling along the motorway on Tuesday morning when the collision happened. Both drivers are okay. Hundreds have gathered in the Hawkesbury today to farewell fallen firefighter Michael Kidd, who died while battling a house fire earlier this month. The 51-year-old was a decorated serviceman, but today was remembered as a kind and selfless family man.
Station 82 Richmond answering the final call for one of their own. On a vintage fire truck draped in the flag, adorned by the flowers of the country he protected. Close behind and beside him, Michael Kidd's colleagues.
Honour guard! Salute!
A ceremony with full honours, a farewell worthy of the man hundreds gathered for.
Michael died doing what he loved, helping others and putting others first.
Words from his wife, Rebecca, read by the brigade's chaplain, a tribute to an ever-doting dad who shared a love of cars with his son Lachlan and swapped his boots for dancing shoes for his girl Samantha.
He made the world a better place. He made his family feel safe and loved and valued.
A compassionate big brother and ringleader of adventure for Belinda and Elizabeth.
Your love lives on in our hearts. We love you, we miss you, and every time we think of you, we will smile. Rest in peace, big brother.
A senior deputy captain volunteering for 34 years with the RFS, also taking up the hose full-time with fire and rescue in 2010. Decorated with dozens of awards, but today it was the overflowing crowd honouring his legacy that will forever bind 2 brigades.
We will miss him. We will remember him, and we will honour him through our work in continuing to protect the communities of Richmond, Londonderry and beyond.
A hero the Hawkesbury will never forget. Sophie Upcroft, 9 News.
The UN Security Council has again delayed a vote on a resolution that urges increased access to Gaza for humanitarian aid. As the IDF continues its assault on the Strip, the Palestinian death toll has reportedly climbed to 20,057, all killed since the October 7 attacks. Fast and Furious star Vin Diesel has been accused of sexual assault by his former assistant. Asta Jonasson alleges the star forcibly hugged, molested and kissed her at a hotel suite in Atlanta before firing her within hours. The allegations are from 2010 during the filming of Fast 5. A lawyer for Vin Diesel says the actor categorically denies the claim. Donald Trump's former attorney, Rudy Giuliani, has filed for bankruptcy. The former mayor of New York listed $225 million in existing or potential debt. It comes a week after he was ordered to pay $217 million to workers he falsely accused of rigging the 2020 election. It's not quite Santa's sleigh, but it's certainly flying deer. Soaring through the skies of Utah, the animals were airlifted as part of a wildlife program studying their migration habits. Given a health check and tagged with GPS collars, the trio then bounded off back into the wild. A Milperra family business lost to a devastating fire and workers out of a job just before Christmas. From Auburn to Guildford, how Sydney's noisy roads could increase residents' chances of having a heart attack. The 25-year groundbreaking Australian study that shows extremely premature babies grow up just fine. And the holy grail of shipwrecks, the mission to recover billions of dollars worth of treasure from the ocean floor. A 4th person has been arrested over what police claim is an elaborate $3.75 million card skimming scheme with suspected links to a Romanian organised crime network. The 26-year-old, who was taken into custody at Rockdale yesterday, was charged with 133 offences and did not apply for bail. 7 southwestern Sydney workers are without a job tonight, just 3 days before Christmas, after flames gutted a family timber business. Smoke from the factory inferno was so thick, firefighters called for backup before they even arrived.
Flames erupt through the roof of this Milpera warehouse and acrid smoke billows across the surrounding area. On the ground, it was so thick, the raging inferno was at times hard to see. Fire crews attacked the blaze from multiple angles, with gas cylinders at the timber manufacturer adding extra danger.
One of them actually did boil off and detonate, causing significant risk.
The fire started just before 5 yesterday afternoon on Warang Street, and it was a race to contain it and protect a car yard next door.
Our firefighters were able to contain that and cut the fire from spreading.
But this morning, spot fires were still burning.
Unfortunately, the business where the fire originated has been destroyed. A tragic loss for them this morning.
9 News has spoken with the owners of the business, which has been in their hands for 25 years. They say they're concerned for their 7 staff members who are now out of work. And sadly, they're not the only ones, as fire ripped through a beauty business at Sylvania in the early hours of the morning, flames damaging neighbouring units, the threat forcing 30 residents from their beds.
It's pretty horrifying actually, because I live just across the road on the highway. I heard, it sounded like shooting, and then I heard the cops.
Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but police are treating the fire as suspicious. Maggie Rayworth, 9 News.
New research has revealed Sydney's most annoying roads with the worst traffic noise across our city. But experts say the consequences could be a lot worse, warning of the health impact it could have on residents.
Vaughan Street, Auburn, one of Sydney's top 50 most annoying roads for those who live on them. Noisy traffic affecting the lives of families like Anne Elhawatz.
The noise is really, really bad. Kids don't sleep much at night. It puts everyone on edge. We're always on edge.
Nora Babano lives with her 2 children on Rawson Road in Guildford, a street which also made the list.
It's horrible. We actually don't get much sleep.
The Victor Chang Cardiac Research Institute finding roads with the most fluctuations in traffic noise are the biggest cause for concern and could increase residents' risk of heart attack or stroke. When we hear a loud or disruptive noise, the body's stress response is triggered by an area of the brain known as the amygdala, which is responsible for processing negative stimuli.
It hears that noise and gets into that fight or flight mode, emitting those hormones, that cortisol, which then suppresses your immune system, puts a lot of stress on your heart, can increase your blood pressure.
Other problem areas include High Street and Chatswood and Mowbray Road at Lane Cove, Marion Street and Illawarra Road in Sydney's inner west, Botany Road in the south and Henry Lawson Drive in the southwest.
Older roads that have been existing for a long time that have perhaps been widened, so they're encroaching even closer to where people live, we haven't concentrated as much on the noise barriers.
It's hoped this research brings more awareness to the growing dangers of road noise. One recommendation is for residents to do their own noise evaluation when choosing a place to rent or live.
In Blacktown, Madison Scott, 9 News.
A world-leading Australian study has found babies born extremely prematurely do surprisingly well in adulthood despite their early challenges. Researchers followed the babies for 25 years to see how they developed.
When Dwayne Dinham was born in 1992, he had to fight to survive.
I was born at 26 weeks, so 3 months premature, weighing in at 886 grams.
He has not only survived but thrived, and at age 31 is a successful international ski and snowboard instructor.
Spent many years in Austria, in Europe. Yeah, that's my passion.
New research led by Dr. Lauren Pigden has found despite their tough start to life, extremely premature babies grow up just fine.
Yeah, we were surprised at how well these young adults were doing.
The Royal Women's Hospital and Murdoch Children's Research Institute study recruited 300 Victorian babies, including those born extremely prematurely, around or before 28 weeks. 25 years later, researchers examined their key life indicators, including education, financial status status and health.
They were just as likely to have completed Year 12, be in paid work, be in a romantic relationship and be satisfied with different aspects of their life.
There were also a few quirky findings in the study. Most of the preterm babies, once they hit early adulthood, were still living at home with their parents and were less likely to smoke or binge drink.
Yeah, as far as I know, I've turned out pretty good.
While Dwayne hopes to hit the slopes again soon, Santa took a break from the freezing North Pole, visiting the teeny patients and families who will likely be in neonatal intensive care units this Christmas.
Thank you so much. Lisa will love that.
Emily Rice, 9 News.
Well, it's been left largely undisturbed for more than 300 years. Now, the Colombian government has announced it will attempt to raise objects from a vessel nicknamed the Holy Grail of Shipwrecks. San Jose sank in 1708 and could hold up to 11 million gold and silver coins worth billions of dollars from Spanish-controlled colonies. The dangerous toys being taken off the shelves before Christmas, the advice for parents and grandparents. And how the cost of living crisis is driving up demand for reward credit cards, the advice before you buy ahead. And Danika, one of our star cricketers, has put family ahead of a mountain of money.
Yes, good evening, Jayne. Josh Hazlewood flew to Melbourne today ahead of the Boxing Day test, and he's explained why he turned down the chance to pocket millions in the IPL. We'll hear from him next. Rebuilding trust. Meet the man who has the difficult job of repairing Australian rugby. Plus, Socceroos coach Graham Arnold calls on an A-League veteran in his quest for Asian Cup glory.
And showers and storms are forecast for Sydney this weekend, so will they clear in time for Christmas Day?
Josh Hazlewood has declared he's putting family before cricket for the first time in his career. The Aussie paceman sacrificed millions of dollars in the IPL to keep the calendar clear for the birth of his first child. But right now, his immediate focus is the Boxing Day test.
Our Aussie cricket stars heading to Melbourne for the premier day of the Australian summer.
Yeah, it's just a special time of year, really. You know, it's Christmas when you arrive in Melbourne. The team's always in sort of the same hotel. Same sort of things go on, the same routine. So, yeah, it's always exciting.
Great time of year. All the families get together. Yeah, the team's full of kids now. Everyone has 1 or 2 kids running around, so it should be a good few days.
Hazlewood is awaiting the birth of his first child. That's why he made himself unavailable for most of next year's IPL, denying himself a possible $1 million pay packet.
Yeah, it's exciting. Probably the first time I put family in front of cricket, so I was always due. I see the other guys do it from time to time with their little ones, so yeah, I guess it's my turn.
In the meantime, he's got a series against Pakistan to win, feeling extra fresh after wrapping up the first test in just 4 days.
Any time we get time off, we can rest up and get back in the gym, do some work on our bodies, so yeah, it's always helpful.
Hazlewood tipping another rockstar display from David Warner in the final Boxing Day test of his decorated career.
Yeah, never write off Davey. Well, I actually should, then he gets runs. Yeah, we might start that routine again this week, but no, he's fantastic and I assume you'll enjoy it again.
Emma Lawrence, 9 News.
After being bowled out for 219, Australia's women have struggled to contain India on day 2 of the test in Mumbai. The Aussies didn't help their own cause, 2 misfields from Talia McGrath gifting India back-to-back boundaries. A short time ago, the hosts were 3 for 243 midway through the second session. The Sydney Sixers face the Adelaide Strikers in the Big Bash at the SCG tonight, but they'll be without Englishman Tom Curran, who has been handed a 4-match ban for intimidating an umpire. The umpire had warned Curran not to run onto the pitch during his warm-up and then stood in the way of the all-rounder to block his path to the wicket. Curran ran through anyway and narrowly avoided a collision. The Sixers have appealed the ban. 12 goals in 8 A-League games for Melbourne Victory this season has earned 36-year-old Uruguay-born striker Bruno Fornaroli a place in the Socceroos squad for next month's Asian Cup.
The most important thing with the Socceroos is form, and Bruno's done a fantastic job. He's had a fantastic start to the season.
Graham Arnold has gambled on the fitness of captain and goalkeeper Matt Ryan, who was chosen despite fracturing his cheekbone just last week. They started the season with 4 straight losses, but defending A-League champions Central Coast are now climbing the ladder fast. The Mariners defeated Brisbane 3-0 to move into the top 6, extending their unbeaten run to 5 matches. Rugby Australia's new high-performance boss says he's open to Michael Cheika making a stunning return as Wallabies coach. Peter Horne has also pleaded with players to ignore offers from Rugby League, promising there's better times ahead for the 15-man code.
Peter Horne has one of sport's hardest tasks, planning rugby's resurgence. The new high-performance director has spent 14 years with World Rugby and knows what's on top of his to-do list.
We've got to start with the Wallabies, getting a head coach.
Horne doesn't officially start until March, but has clocked on early to help CEO Phil Waugh find Eddie Jones' replacement.
Some long nights, potentially double jobbing, but I'm up for it.
Do you want an Australian coach or are you happy to look overseas?
As an Australian, I'd love to see Australians leading, but in this situation, I think where we're at, it's the best person for the role.
Former Wallabies coach Michael Cheika led Argentina to the World Cup semi-finals, but has left the Pumas and is now a free agent. Would you be interested in getting him back?
We're open to anyone.
Peter, would you like to see Michael back in the role?
I'm open to anyone.
A report into Australia's disastrous World Cup is due early next year. Some findings won't be hard to pick.
Rebuilding trust with the playing group is really important. That's been quite evident in what I've seen come through the review already.
One Wallaby has already had enough. Breakout star Mark Nwanganita-Wase rejecting rugby to join the Roosters.
It's always disappointing to lose players. You don't want to see them go to another code. But we've got plenty of good players coming through the system.
What would you say to any other players considering joining the NRL?
Stay. There are so many great opportunities, international pinnacle events that are coming down the track.
Horne isn't interested in poaching more league stars himself.
That would be my primary focus, working with those that are already in the program.
Luke Dovesey, 9 News.
Let's hope, Jayne, they get their coach soon and they choose a good one as well.
Yeah, Danika, thank you. Coming up, the mince pie recall at a major supermarket. The advice is more of us chase freebies through reward credit cards. The dozens of dangers that could be wrapped up under your tree. And how police went to great lengths to take down the Grinch and save Christmas. Everybody loves a freebie, but with the cost of living tightening purse strings, they're even in hotter demand, with more of us signing up for credit cards chasing perks. Sophie Upcroft explains.
As the price of almost everything creeps up, more of us are putting it on the plastic. An extra 200,000 people opened a personal credit card account in the last 12 months. A Rate City survey found postponing payments is not the only reason for the surge. Almost 60% say they're chasing rewards points to cash in on free flights, gifts or vouchers. The cards offering the maximum flight rewards are the Qantas Money Premier Titanium, promising 150,000 points if you spend $5,000 in the first 3 months, and the Frequent Flyer Black with ANZ, 130,000 points sign-up bonus with the same spending conditions. When it comes to cashback and general rewards, City Prestige offers the biggest sign-up bonus, 275,000 points, which can be converted to gift vouchers. But the catch with each of these cards is the high interest rate, all three charging around or above 20%. You should also check the minimum credit limit and the annual fee, which can be up to $1,200. Rate City says there's no such thing as a free lunch. It's crucial to crunch the numbers to make sure the rewards outweigh the fees.
A warning tonight for one of our festive favourites. Check your mince pies before you dig in. Woolworths has issued a recall for its short crust summer berry mince pies 6-pack with a best before date of June 13, 2024 over fears a batch may contain metal. Bright lights, bouncy balls and battery-operated toys can be irresistible for kids at Christmas time, but fair trading has been forced to pull several items off the shelves. While inspectors say fewer businesses have been found selling dodgy toys this year, there are still dozens of dangers that could be wrapped up under your tree.
Santa Claus knows just how hard it is to say no to the humble request of a child at Christmas time.
And what would you like for Christmas?
Some giant squishmallows.
I want a new iPad.
We just got a new dog yesterday.
X-Wing, UCF.
And what would you like for Christmas?
I have pink.
But there are some gifts expert toy testers say should be avoided at all costs. Inspectors at Fair Trading New South Wales have perused the shelves of almost 1,000 stores across the state, finding 40 businesses and 69 toys to add to the naughty list, including yo-yo water balls, magnetic beads, and sometimes even the sparkliest gifts are dangerous, like this wand.
This small part is quite flimsy. And little foam balls can come out which can be ingested.
Toys that use button batteries need to be clearly labelled, like this Jurassic Park dinosaur. They also need to be properly secured, something this toy maker hasn't done.
As part of the safety standard, it does require a captive screw. Doesn't have that, and the button batteries can just automatically pop out.
If you're still searching for the perfect gift, Fair Trading offers some handy rules of thumb. The younger the child, the bigger the toy should be. Anything smaller than a 20-cent piece is not appropriate for a toddler, and steer clear of anything with strings longer than 30 centimetres. In Chatswood, Bianca Balzer, 9 News.
To finance now, and Santa's bag of gifts this year includes a big return for investors. As finance editor Chris Kohler explains, the famous Santa Claus rally has delivered the goods.
It's feeling very Christmassy in the finance world, more this year than usual. There is often a boost to the market at the end of the year, nicknamed the Santa Claus Rally, but this is shaping up as the best December we've seen since 1997, up nearly 6%. And even though it's been a difficult year, the places selling gifts aren't suffering. In fact, they've been some of the best performing stocks. This month alone, Myer, Harvey Norman and Temple & Webster are all up more than 13%, showing the Christmas spirit is alive and well. The Aussie dollar is also flying high, the strongest it's been in 5 months. Finally, the share market will be closed on Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day. We'll have all of the trading updates on the other days. I'll be back on January 8. Hope you have a relaxing break.
Thanks, Chris. Nice hat. Let's take a look now at the price of unleaded across Sydney tonight. The average is $1.95, but you can find it cheaper at Padstow and Bankstown. Now, he's known for trying to steal Christmas, but tonight the Grinch has found himself under arrest. 2 officers, a dog and Santa taking down the cranky green character as part of a police stunt in the US state of Kansas. The mean Mr. Grinch was brought into custody where he had his mugshot taken. Coming up, Belinda with the weather.
Thank you, Jane. Partly cloudy skies over Sydney tonight with light to moderate southerly, sitting at 22 in the city right now and 24 in our west. Widespread showers across New South Wales tomorrow, but will they reach Sydney, and how is it looking for Christmas Day? That forecast is coming up next. Welcome back. Sydney turned up the sundial today. Beautiful blue skies over the city. A big improvement from yesterday. The southerlies keeping things fresh on the harbour, reaching 46 kilometres per hour this afternoon. After a few cooler days, temperatures warming up again. Penrith and Richmond, the hottest reaching 28, mid-20s for the rest, and the city stopping at 26, but felt a few degrees cooler thanks to those southerly winds. Across New South Wales, some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the northeast. The southerlies keeping things cool along the coast with tops in the low 20s. Coffs only making it to 22. A much warmer day for inland parts though, soaring to 37 in Burke. Dubbo and Griffith also reaching the 30s. Conditions across the state becoming more unstable tomorrow as a trough lingers over western New South Wales. Just a possible shower for Brisbane and a top of 29. 25 for Canberra with showers and the chance of a storm. Back home, and here's a closer look at that rain. Isolated showers and thunderstorms inland, possibly severe across central and northern areas. We might also get some isolated showers near the coast. Daytime temperatures above average in the far west and below average elsewhere. Grafton about 6 degrees warmer than today, reaching 29. On to Sydney, and the sunny weather will be back tomorrow with a light sea breeze sweeping in the afternoon. There is a slight chance of a shower, most likely in our west later in the evening. Less than 1 millimetre forecast though. Temperatures much like today, but without those southerly, so it will feel a few degrees warmer than today. Our west heading for the high 20s, up to 29 degrees in Richmond and Penrith, and the top of 26 for the city, and overnight lows around 13 to 18 degrees. On to the outlook now, and make the most of tomorrow's sunshine, because we are in for a moody Christmas Eve. Cloudy with showers and a possible storm, a top of 26 for the city. Then on to the most important forecast, Christmas Day, 28 and partly cloudy, so we should get some sunny spells, but then a high chance of showers, most likely in the afternoon and evening. 0 to 7 millimetres forecast, and just a possible shower on Boxing Day, and 30 degrees, and staying warm and dry for the rest of the week. In our west, up to 30 millimetres forecast over Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, with tops in the high 20s, hitting the 30s on Tuesday, and a summer scorcher on Thursday, so plenty of beach time for the rest of the holidays. Jane.
I like it, Belinda, thank you. Dimity Clancy is next with a current affair. And that's 9 News for this Friday. I'm Jayne Azzopardi. Thank you for being with us. Good night.